Pastor from fat to fit in 90 days. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the actual roadmap that my paid coaching clients walk through to get them from a fat pastor to a fit pastor within about 3 months. And at the end, I'm going to give you the action steps that you need to implement today to start your own fit pastor journey. So let's just dive in. Before I give you the full roadmap though, I want to show you this. Here's the problem. We have 3 different categories that we can fit into. The first one is the fat pastor. Now the fat pastor is not necessarily the stereotype, although obviously that would fit in, where this big 400-pound thundering hellfire brimstone Baptist guy is preaching in the deep south with this rag wiping his forehead and everything, sweating. You know how it goes. He's always out of breath. He's frustrated with everybody, it seems like. He's always studying and never walking. He doesn't really move that much. And I think that obviously has its place, and I do feel like, it's a stereotype for a reason. But on the other hand, I don't think most pastors are that. I think most pastors are, 180, maybe they're 200, maybe they're 220. And typically what happens is, they were fit in high school, they were really fit in college, maybe even they were athletes. And at some point that athleticism kind of dropped off. And so they became, in college, they didn't have as much time, they couldn't go to the gym like they used to. And then of course, we all get married in college for some reason. So we're all married, our wives cook good, so we eat good. And then over and over, we just have this cycle, and eventually it gets to like 10, 15, 20 years down the road. You're in ministry for a while, the pressures of ministry happen, and then you look back and you see those pictures of you in college and you never really noticed it, but you don't look the same anymore. And it feels kind of defeating because there's this progress you had made, there's this person you were physically, and now you're not that person anymore. And so now you've slipped from becoming, somebody who used to take care of his temple to eventually now becoming the fat pastor. And it doesn't mean that you're obese, it doesn't mean that you're morbid, like you're on death's door or anything, but it does mean that you're no longer taking any action, or at least any meaningful action, to get in shape. And that kind of leads us to the pastor who's fit. Because most people, they become the fat pastor, they see themselves in the mirror, they have that realization, I'm not the guy I used to be, I gotta change something. And so then they become this pastor who's fit. And everything is about that run at the end of the day, or they're always kind of finding a new diet. They're on paleo, they're on keto, they're on Whole30. They do all of the things. They get into running, they get into, I've even seen like skateboarding and frisbee golf, all kinds of hobbies, because they're outside, they're all fitness related hobbies, it's a sport, and they're being active. And obviously these things are good, like clearly those things are good for your body, they're good health wise, they do help take care of some of the weight that got put on. And over time you become this pastor who's fit. You don't look like the guy that you were when you started this. You're not a fat pastor anymore by any stretch of the imagination. You're definitely making progress. People come up to you after the service and they're like, Pastor, you've been working out. It feels really good. Your wife notices, your kids notice. They want to be like daddy who's big and strong. You become this pastor who's fit. And that's great, because now your outside is matching what it used to, or at least it's closer to what it used to be. And the issue with this is that all of that progress is because we look in the mirror and we see fat pastor. I don't want to be like him. I don't want to look like him. I don't want to feel like him anymore. So now I got to be a pastor who's fit. I got to be the kind of guy who looks like he's in shape. I got to be running. I got to be working hard. Got to be dieting. And you get in shape, but all of it ends up being, and if you watched this channel before, you know what's coming next. It's all really, at the core of it, for vanity. And that leads us to what we should be, which is a fit pastor. Now, a pastor who's fit does a lot of the same actions as a fit pastor, but a pastor who's fit just does it for appearances or health or longevity. A fit pastor does it because he wants to honor God with his body. And so, you end up probably losing the same amount of weight. You end up doing a lot of the same things that you would do. But the point of being a fit pastor is so that you honor God with your body. If that's what you want to do, then you should follow the 90-day roadmap just after this. So day 1, if that's you today, you want to become a fit pastor, what you need to do right now is start weighing in daily. Now, before we keep going, all of these actions are going to stack. So everything from day 1 to day 90 is going to add one piece at a time until you're finally at day 90 and you've completed kind of the full metamorphosis into a fit pastor. So day 1, you're going to weigh in daily. And this means from today all the way to day 90 and beyond, you're going to start weighing in. If you don't have a scale, you're going to go to the gym and you're going to weigh in whenever you go to the gym on gym days. Confession, I don't actually have a scale and I'm a fitness coach. So you don't have to have one. It helps definitely if you can weigh in daily though. They did a study, I don't know how long ago it was, but where they had two groups, and one group weighed in daily and the other group did not. Now the problem was they did this test during holiday season, and you know what that means. The potlucks, the dinners, the cookies, the big meals, the celebrations, the parties, all of that. And the group that didn't weigh in on average added 10 pounds. But the group that just did one simple change, they didn't change their diet, they didn't change their workout routine. All they had to change was if they weighed in daily or not. And the group that did ended up losing on average 10 pounds during the holiday season. So the point of this is, if you just weigh in daily, seeing that feedback is going to give you a good sign of whether you're progressing or not. On top of that, that habit makes it to where first thing in the morning, the very first thing that you're doing is committing this day unto the Lord in your fitness as well. Today, I know this weight is just one measuring stick that I'm going to use. God, today, this is only one thing that I'm going to look at to see if I'm making progress or not. But today, I'm committing that what I put in my body, the way that I move, the actions that I take, the physical body that you've given me, today, God, this is yours. Be honored through it. It's yours. Use me through it. And it's all about stewardship. So you're going to weigh in daily. That's the first thing. Then you need to increase your steps by 1,000 to 5,000 steps per day. The simple truth is this: you can eat the exact same food that you're eating, but if you just increase the activity that you do, you're going to end up losing some fat, losing some weight. On top of that, you're also, because of this new activity, going to start having a little bit of water retention slip off. So what happens is when you're pretty lethargic, when you don't move a ton, you tend to accumulate more body water, more, you feel a little bit more bloated. And then if you start just jumping into exercises, then you start to notice a ton of inflammation, and that adds even more body water. It just means that your weight overall is a little bit heavier. If you just increase your steps by 1,000 to 5,000 per day, I think 10% would be a great rule here, but 1,000 is a great starting point. If you just increase your steps by 1,000 per day, then you're going to notice some of that body water comes off. Because you're moving more, your body moves that water around and circulates it more, meaning it goes through your kidneys faster, meaning you end up peeing off a lot of the body water, the water that's sitting on you, the inflammation, the fluids, that ends up disappearing. And so you lose that fast first few pounds. So that's day 1. You need to weigh in daily, start increasing your steps every day this week by 1,000 to 5,000. Day 8. So this is after your first week. This is the day 1 of week 2. You're going to track calories in MyFitnessPal. If you don't already have the app, just go download it. It's free. Whenever it first pops up, I had a trainee get mad at me one time actually. He was like, this app that you told me to download, it wants me to pay for a subscription. And he was mad at me because they had that. There's a little X, and even if it's hidden, you can still find the X, I promise. It is 100% free, and it has everything that you need in the free version. Track calories in your MyFitnessPal app. It's going to set up some goals for you. You can follow those goals if you want. If not, I'll show you something in a minute that actually might be a little bit more accurate, a little bit better. But track the calories in MyFitnessPal, and you're just going to do this every day. Now, notice you're not necessarily going for a calorie goal just yet. You're just tracking what you eat. All this does is it shows you what you're putting in your body. And kind of like weighing in, this is another way that we can measure our progress and measure our adherence to our goals. So in your mind, you're thinking, I want to be a fit pastor, and that doesn't look like a fat pastor. So every time you do a fat pastor thing, you have to log that now in MyFitnessPal. And so it feels bad, honestly. And this is kind of like the stick. You want the carrot of the fit pastor, but the stick is, I ate that, now I have to own that, and I have to track that. So just track everything that you eat in MyFitnessPal. That becomes the stick. It also helps you to see what you're eating. Most people just don't even realize. One of the most common things I've heard is, man, I just didn't even realize how much I was eating. I had no idea. When you track, it helps take care of that. So track your calories in MyFitnessPal. Then the second action for this week is to join a gym or find a free alternative. Now, if you have a Planet Fitness for $10 a month, fantastic. That's gonna be great. If you have, like an LA Fitness and Anytime Fitness, which is what I use, if you have any of those kinds of gyms, then that's fine too. A CrossFit gym works. Any kind of gym, if you wanna join one, that's fantastic, do it. If you don't have the money, the time, or for some other reason you just don't wanna join a gym, that's okay. Just use a free alternative. So you can do at home. There's a local park that has like a running track, or maybe even some like monkey bars that you could do pull-ups on, or calisthenics, things like that, that's fine too. A free alternative is going to be a great place for you to get started. And you can absolutely get in the best shape of your life by using just free equipment. A backpack at home works great. If you stuff some books in it, your old college textbooks, stuff those in there, now you have a weight. So basically you can do all of this for free at home or at the park or whatever. But just pick somewhere. And the point of this step is for you to take action and take some forethought for what you're going to do. Now, you're not necessarily doing workouts yet. You're not really getting your feet wet in that yet. You're just trying to get prepared. If you're like me, then your schedule is probably a little bit too busy just to go get a gym right now because you watched a YouTube video in your living room. You probably are going to need a few days to figure out the schedule. Hey, when can I go run this? You got to coordinate the kids and pickups and all of that. So you're going to probably just need a week, that second week. That way you can work this in at some point that's a little bit more convenient. So get to a gym, join a gym, or scope out your park, scope out a free alternative, see if you got an old backpack laying around, something like that. Now, that's the first 2 weeks. We've now begun weighing in daily. We're increasing our steps by 1 to 5,000 per day. Not increasing every day 1 to 5,000, you're just gonna increase the weekly average by 1 to 5,000. We'll get to that in a minute. Then day 8, you're starting now. Every day you're tracking your calories in MyFitnessPal for free. Then you're also scoping out and joining a gym, or you're scoping out and finding a place to work out at home or at the park or something. Then week 3, day 15. So you've completed 2 full weeks. Now it's time for your first workout. 2 weeks from today, hopefully, is your first workout. I'm going to show you this. These are some plans that you can check out. It's actually completely free. It's part of the Fit Pastor Blueprint. This is just a community that I have here on an app called School. And these are free. These are complete. This is evidence-based, so basically you can just follow one of these at home if you're doing that, or if you're going to be at the park or whatever, that's fine. If you have a full gym like a Planet Fitness or something with barbells at Anytime, that's going to work. Or this dumbbell only workout is just fine too. Maybe you only have dumbbells like the little handheld weights, that's fine. You can use this. This has all of the exercises that you're going to need. It's also got how to use it, when to increase your weight, how many reps to do. And then on top of that, you have this first workout guide. And if you open this up, it actually shows you exactly what to do your very first time you go into the gym. And so that's InsideSchool.com/pastor. You can go get that for free inside there. But basically, whether you follow one of my plans or not, the goal is you've already done those first 2 week steps. Week 3 steps is to get 1 to 4 workouts in this week. Now, just a freebie, I don't recommend you doing more than 4 workouts. What I would recommend for most people is a 3-day full body workout plan. That's what these plans are that I gave you. You could even do them 2 days a week and still get great success with that. There doesn't seem to be any benefit to 2 times a week versus 3 times a week, unless you just have a more complex plan. But yeah, anywhere from 2 times, even 1 time. If you only have time for 1, that's fine. That's better than nothing for sure. 1 to 4 times per week that you're working out. Now, that's pretty simple, and you're just gonna do this for 2 weeks. So you see we jumped from day 15 to day 30. So there's basically a 2-week gap here, and all you're doing is just getting in the gym, kind of finding that rhythm, seeing what days of the week work better for you, and then you're just working the plan. Just follow the program, just increase your weight, increase your reps, get stronger, figure out what works for you. Now, when you've completed your first month, it's time to add a protein goal. When you're tracking your calories, that's fantastic for fat loss, especially if you're using the plans that are inside there. In fact, let me show you this. If we go back to this right here, let me move this real quick. We go back to this, there's this what to eat, the never skip dessert diet. And this is gonna show you how to find the calories that you need as well as the protein that you need. It's got the full guide right here. A little 6-minute video. If you watch it on double speed, it's 3 minutes. And this walks you through exactly how to find the right calories for weight loss or weight gain, whatever your goal is, and how to find the goal for how much protein you should be eating. Now, up until this point, you're not worrying about that. You don't care about proteins, fats, carbs, anything like that does not matter because it's just too complex. It's too much to worry about at once. Just track your calories. But now that we're a month in, you've gotten the groove, you're taking more steps, you're weighing in consistently, and you're in the gym, now it's time to add that protein goal, because if all you do is cut your calories and you don't have enough protein, you won't be able to retain the muscle that you currently have. If that happens and you just keep doing that for a long enough time, once you stop dieting and you start going back to a little bit more calories, eating at maintenance, we call it, then you're just gonna actually get fatter and fatter and fatter. Because what happens is the more protein or the more muscle you lose, the lower amount of calories your body needs. And you probably already know all that. I'm probably not telling you anything new. But if you decrease your muscle mass, you decrease the amount of calories you need to maintain your weight. But if you go back to where you were, that means that you're eating more calories than your body needs, and that gets stored as fat. So you obviously don't want that. And if you work out all the time, that just accelerates that process. And so it becomes an even greater divide, and clearly you don't want that either. So what we need to do is add a protein goal. The second reason we're gonna do this is because when you work out, not only are you going to be preserving the muscle that you have, but you'll probably be building some muscle too. And you need adequate protein in order to maintain that muscle and then to grow it on top of that. So you need to add your protein goal. Again, this training right here walks you through exactly what to do. It takes you 3 minutes to get through, and it's free. Now, day 60, you're now a month into working out consistently, weighing in, taking more steps, tracking calories, and tracking protein. Now, sounds like a lot, but remember, we're already 2 months into this. So don't get freaked out. Don't get worried that this is going to be too much at once. We're just going to walk through the roadmap. Now we're going to start meal planning. At this point, you've figured out how to track consistently. You're seeing what's working. You're seeing what's not. You're probably getting into a great groove in the gym, but you're noticing that there's some foods that might slip in that aren't that easy to recover from. You're probably gonna have frequent days where you miss your calorie and protein goal. And that's okay, because what we're gonna do now is start adjusting the foods that we eat. You're gonna start meal planning. Basically, you're gonna sit down on Saturday or Sunday or whatever with your wife, and you guys are going to agree that, by the way, do this tactfully. If you just go in and you say, this is what I want to do, I'm going to change the plan, I'm going to do my own thing, that's probably not going to end up well for you. So do this tactfully. But basically, you're going to go in and you're going to start sitting down weekly, thinking through the foods that you're going to eat in advance. And if it's obviously something that doesn't contribute towards the Fit Pastor lifestyle, you're going to request politely and make a suggestion that we not do this. Here's the suggestion for what we do instead. You're going to start meal planning, and then of course you can even go advanced if you really want to, and you can start meal prepping on top of that. So not only are you planning what you're going to eat for that grocery haul that you're going to do, but you're going to actually start cooking in advance, sticking it in the Tupperwares. But you don't have to do that. Meal planning seems to work well for most people. You're going to basically practice that for a month. So you're going to get 4 rounds in of meal planning. Maybe you guys have a larger family, you buy in bulk, so maybe you have 2 rounds of this. You're practicing that, you're getting a good plan together, and by this point, you're going to have collected a lot of data. You've gotten 3 months now. Once we get to day 90, we're going to have 3 months of weigh-ins. You're going to see that weight drop. You're going to start tracking those calories. You got 3 months of food logs, food diaries that you can go back to and see what weeks were harder, what weeks were easier. And you can compare all of this to your calendar. You can see when workouts were hard, what events came up during the church or the family life that made getting your protein goal more difficult. You're going to see those weeks that it was easier to meal plan versus the ones that it was harder. And all you're going to do now at day 90 is use this data to adjust your plan. And the great thing is you have the data now. You've stored the data, and that's the point of doing this over 3 months instead of just a few weeks. So most people, they rush in and they dive in to like 10 different things, and sure, it's working, but they don't know what's working. And then they adjust something and it doesn't change anything, and they don't know why it's not working or what's not changing, and it's because they've not collected enough data. So what we're doing is we're giving ourselves plenty of data to make educated, informed decisions so that you can do this on your own. Now, one of the cool things about our community is I'm actually recording this live on a community call in the Fit Pastor Blueprint. And so if you were here, then you'd be able to ask me a question afterwards about your own plan. And I would be happy to walk you through that. You can post up questions inside the community. There was a guy who did this just the other day, and he asked for some counsel. He had 2 questions. Should he run and do body weight exercises? What supplement should he get? Things like this. You can ask these questions. You can get that feedback and get some answers from a biblical and evidence-based approach. Just by joining the community, you can ask these questions live on the call, get feedback. If you have any questions about this day 1 through 90, if you were here on the call, you could ask that. How do you do that? All of that is a great little bonus to joining the community. You definitely don't have to, but it might help you. Use if helpful. Now, what to expect when you follow the 90-day Fit Pastor Roadmap. You can, that's a typo, you can lose 10 to 30 pounds within this time frame. Now, you say, well, that's not huge. Okay, but if you do this for 3 months, suppose you were on the higher end, that's nearly 100 pounds in a year. Like, that's massive. And if you lose 10 pounds in 3 months, that's 40 pounds in a year. Like, that's a huge amount of progress. And most people, when they've lost about 10 pounds, their face starts to lean out. People start to notice. They're not sure if they should ask you if you're dieting or not, but they notice it and they start to think about it. By the time you get to 20 pounds down, they definitely notice. People start coming up to you after the service. They're like, hey, Pastor, what have you been doing differently? You're looking good. By 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, people that you haven't seen in decades, they're commenting on your Facebook posts. They're like, man, you look really good. What are you doing differently? And all you say is, I'm just stewarding my body as unto the Lord because it's God's body, not mine. You can give the praise back to Him. You can also say that you followed this cool roadmap. I'd appreciate it, but you don't have to. I'm just kidding. But you can expect to lose about 20 to 30 pounds within that first 1 to 3 months. And by the way, this first week, most pastors working with me tend to lose 4.9 pounds on average, meaning that half of them actually lose more than that. And so you can probably lose up to even 10 pounds in your first week alone, not to mention the other, however many that week's is, the other 11 weeks. Is that it? I don't know. I don't do math. Okay, number 2 is you'll build new habits. And that's important because this is the first step along the path of a new lifestyle. So remember, we're talking about Fat Pastor is really just the result of a lifestyle issue. And I would say a lifestyle issue is really, which we're going to get to it in a minute, but it's really just a stewardship issue. It's saying my lifestyle is a reflection of the flesh. And that's what fat pastors do. Pastors who's fit, that's great that they're doing the actions of it and that they're taking care of their body, but it's not a lifestyle of stewardship through fitness. A fit pastor is the kind of guy who shifts from fat pastor to fit pastor. And the first one's a mindset. It's all about the flesh. It's all about how you think. It's all about, just ignoring the temptations to eat food or getting the discipline to get up early and go to the gym. That's a mindset, and that can result in a pastor who's fit, but it can't result in fit pastor stewardship. And you'll notice the difference between mindset and stewardship. This is discipline, but this perishes with the flesh. Stewardship is eternal. And like Galatians says, you're sowing to the Spirit, therefore you can reap in the Spirit. So you'll shift from fat pastor mindset to fit pastor stewardship. And that means that today we got to figure out what to do right now. So number 1, go ahead and pause the video and look at your phone's pedometer. Now, if you have a phone, like any kind of smartphone, if you open up the Apple Health app or the Google Fit app, that's where you can find the weekly average. All you're gonna do is, what I would recommend is zoom out from weekly average to monthly average, figure out what that little average number is, and then increase that by 1,000 to 5,000 steps this week. So if your monthly average is 5,000 steps, you could increase that anywhere to 6K, all the way up to 10,000 if you're really feeling ambitious and want fast progress. Remember, the more of these steps you take, the faster the fat comes off, the faster the body water is depleted, the faster that inflammation subsides, the faster you end up getting this progress. And if you do that for all 3 months of this, you'll look like a completely different person. You may surpass that 30 pounds that I estimated. Now, join FitPastor. You don't have to, but join FitPastor to access the free FitPastor Blueprint course. And that's at school.com/pastor. You can just go there right now, type that in. You already paused once, right? Hopefully. And now you can just go here. It's also the first link in the description if you would like to get to there. And again, what this has is the full FitPastor classroom. Oops, sorry, Austin. This has the full FitPastor classroom, and you can see all of this blueprint. We start out with pastors and leaders, talk about how fitness is stewardship. We talk about the 3 ingredients to getting in shape, how to eat, how to work out in less than 3 hours a week, and then a few special tips for pastors only. This one's a gem. I think you're going to enjoy it. And you can get all of that again for free. It's a $1,000 course, but you can have it now. Then, if you're in the community, again, this one's optional, but you can do it if you want. You can stay accountable with the daily stewardship logs. If you go back to our community, under this wins tab, I post a stewardship log every day. And all you have to do is, like my brother Daniel did, just comment the things that you've done in the last day. And so this helps with accountability. And I've noticed that a lot of our other guys like to get in there and drop gifts, or they like to make jokes, or encourage one another. It's a cool little community aspect, and you can stay accountable with other people while also encouraging other pastors, which I think is really neat. And then finally, and this one's not optional, this one's mandatory if you want to get these results, stay consistent for a week, and then begin step 2, which you can find under day 8. And once you finished that second week, then you would go to day 15, you come back to the video, you'd see the first workout, you'd follow one of those plans I showed you, and then a few weeks later, you'd do the protein goal, a month later, you'd do the meal planning, and a month later, you'd start adjusting your plan, making improvements, seeing what works for you, seeing what doesn't, and honoring God through the process. All of that means you go from fat to fit in 90 days. Hope to see you in the community. Have a great day.